Pregame Live. And yes, I am outdoors, a little bit of a walk. I should be running and should have ran, but I was up early getting the podcast ready. So when I get back to the apartment, I can start recording. And on top of all that, I was doing some editing because I do have a couple of history lessons that I want to share in reference to the world of sports, which I have two, getting ready for three in the can. One is actually the anniversary today of, I believe it was today. Maybe it was the 23rd. No, I think it was the 16th. October 16th, where the Red Sox lost Game 7 of the 2020, or 2003, hear me, 2003 ALCS. So, Cole, my man, morning to you too, sir. And yeah, so I got a couple of sports history videos that are going to come out in the next couple of days, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And I have quite a few more of those that are coming down the pike. First like, first comment, go. Yeah, yes, definitely, Cole. Thank you as always. You know that. So, yeah, it's been a busy week and change. Hopefully it starts to quiet down a little bit. Not necessarily with the work and with the content and things of that nature. But like I said, besides the podcast coming later, which I'll tell you a little bit about shortly, the sports history stuff I did for, oh, definitely, man, yeah. And it's going to be baseball related, obviously, with the playoffs. And I'll touch on the playoffs in a little bit, especially what happened last night with the Blue Jays getting back in the series. But yeah, the sports history stuff is something that I'm looking forward to. They could be anywhere between like 5 to 10 or 5 to 15 minutes. The first two videos that I have, the first one is about 5.5 minutes. The other one's about 8.5. But it's going to vary depending on how much I'm going to elaborate on what's happening in bio. I know it's a big day. Try to go up 3-love in your series. Welcome. I know it's early out in your neck of the woods. I'm sure the sun is probably not even up yet because although we're going to move the clocks back in 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks from this weekend. Move the clocks back. The day's going to get the day's already getting shorter as it is. And of course, the leaves are falling. Obviously, it is fall, but no sun yet. Look at that. That's right, right? Early bird gets the worm. But yeah, the sports history stuff, I'm going to put my first one out tomorrow. And the next one I'll probably put up on Sunday. Not probably, I will put up on Sunday. And then I'm going to try to do at least 2 times a week to put these sports history nuggets out there. Of course, through my eyes, through my experience, etc. And it's not just about me. It's just about the sports fan, where I was when these events happened and how this all unfolded, etc. And I may even go back to events that happened before yours truly was alive on this planet. But obviously, to make it a little bit more personal, it's always good to go back in time when you watch some of these events, or again, you remember what happened on this day or during this time, X amount of years ago, and you're like, oh yeah. And obviously with October, there's so many things. Now, I was thinking about this just on the way outside, how I was just thinking about on the way outside how tomorrow is actually the 36th anniversary of the earthquake in San Francisco. So that's a good one for you, Bio. Where were you when that happened? I know I was at, true story, the night that happened, I was at Madison Square Garden. I was watching the Blackhawks play the Rangers. And I was sitting in the 200s, for those who are familiar with Madison Square Garden. Fishing Angel, good morning to you. And I was sitting in Madison Square Garden, and the crazy thing was is that there was almost like not a roar, but it was almost like like what has happened? And then word came down that the World Series was delayed because of the earthquake there in San Francisco. So they had to delay it a few days, and then you happen to find out, you see all of the destruction and the damage, etc. And mind you, this is before social media, this is before Twitter, this is before anything. So thankfully in the building, they did have access to watch the World Series. Of course, there were monitors and TVs, not all over the place, but I guess in the press box, etc. And it was a situation where when the word came down, it was almost like, what, an earthquake? Like, is everybody all right? Is everybody, because although you're getting this through word of mouth, but it's not like you can go on your phone and rifle through whatever social media accounts or news outlets that you follow to where you could say, oh, wow, this is what took place. I tell you, isn't that crazy when you think about the world today as it was back then? And here it was, October 17th, 1989, when the earthquake took place and they had to delay the World Series. And it was a situation where, at least for me, being in a public building and not knowing what was gonna, like, what had transpired, who had died, etc. All right, here we go. Fishing Angel gets on here and steals my number one cry. You guys are gonna go at it today. You're like, hey, wait a second. I jump on here first. I make the first comment. I'm the top fan. I'm the first one into the live stream, and you're gonna steal my thunder? Well, if there's anybody that's gonna steal your thunder, it's gonna be the wife or the kids. So that's one that you have to just your cap and say, all right, that's all you. How's the weather here, Fishing Angel? It's actually 47 degrees. It feels like 42. Sun is out, it's beautiful, it's brisk, but it's nice. Now, of course, I'm all bundled up because I'm wearing shorts. Not to try to show off the legs. I wanted to run, but by the time I got ready and I was gonna actually drive to this park where I love to run, but I forgot that they're actually repaving the street, so I couldn't get my car out of the garage. So therefore, I'm just out here for a walk. But, and I'm actually having an idea for a vlog, which is weird. I know I'm gonna like divert for a second because, yeah, I was thinking about doing not even a vlog. Yeah, vlog, yes, but I wanted to do a live stream of just me running. And part of that would be a challenge, not only just running with the phone, but running X amount of miles, like without any hydration, which I know it's one of those do not try this at home deals, but I don't know. Who knows? We'll see what happens with that. And no, it's not like a Mr. Beast deal where, oh, let me try to do this in 10 hours and, or whatever it is. You know, Mr. Beast had all those. I mean, the reason why he became so big is because he did all these weird challenges, whether it's like counting to 1,000,000 or whatever he was doing just to try to get himself out there. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing something like that, but I got to do it soon because I certainly don't want to like run, let's say, I don't know, 10 miles, but it's so cold out. And mind you, it's the middle of October, it's not December. But with that being said, as I cross the street here, risking life and limb, and I'm exaggerating, of course. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing something like that. All right, let me get back here. So yeah, the weather's nice, it's brisk. How's it over there in Michigan? I'm curious. I know you guys haven't had rain. All right, Bio, hang on. I was at home with my dad. Oh, wow, is that right? 14. Wow, check that out. And I'm sure as you're watching it, you're probably like, what the hell? Now, mind you, that's right up the coast. Granted, what, San Francisco to LA is, what, a 2-hour flight, I think? Maybe more than that. I do not know. Well, let me see, which way am I going to go? Yeah, I guess I'll go straight because I got the sun there. I don't want to turn that way and then the glare is too much for you guys. But I joked, she laughed, so it worked. No, that's cool. But no, interesting, Bio, how obviously you remember where you were and what had happened. And I mean, that's the other beauty about sports. Like, where were you at certain days, moments, times, etc. And obviously, this is a month where you got a lot. of course, a lot with the baseball and playoffs, World Series, etc. It's chilly here. I miss the hot weather. Oh, fishing agent, you're speaking my language. I am a summer guy. I can't stand that I'm out here layered up. Give me 85 to 90, drink in hand, toes in sand. Yeah, I'm built for warm weather. I just am. And you would think that I've lived in warm weather my whole life. I mean, I've lived in New York just about my whole life. I graduated high school in Florida many moons ago. But yeah, it's one of those things where a week ago, Tuesday, it was almost 80, I think, as I shared before. And now it's 47 degrees. And listen, I get it. It's the seasons. I mean, what are you going to do? But yeah, I am with you big time on that. I miss the hot weather big time. I think it would absolutely be crazy to watch Seattle collapse before this. Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to talk about that in a second. We're used to earthquakes, so it's nothing new. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's interesting you say that, Bio, because about 6 weeks ago, there was an earthquake here in New York. And it was weird. I think it happened I think it was in the middle of the night. No, it was maybe it was like after midnight, and I didn't feel it. But I did experience my first earthquake. It was a little over a year ago. My wife and I are in the bedroom. Well, not doing that, but we're laying on the bed, and we did feel like something rumble. Like, what the hell was that? I said, did we just witness an earthquake or experience an earthquake? And sure enough, it was. That was the first time I've ever experienced that. And it was wild. And it only happened maybe for like 3 seconds. But you felt it. You felt it almost. There was a rumble. You felt the shift. I mean, nothing fell off of the dressers or nothing came off the walls, picture frames, etc. But yeah, it was bizarre. I mean, obviously I never experienced that. So yeah, I'm sure you're well versed. I hate the cold weather. I love the warm weather. I've become a lot better with the cold weather over the last few years because, again, it's mind over matter. But, there's nothing like warm weather. Nothing at all. And nothing beats it. I'm sorry. I'd rather have a tank top, shorts, flip-flops. And it's funny because it's better to run in cooler weather than it is in warm weather, although I love running in the warm weather, 100%. But it is better to run when it's cooler, but I don't care. I'll run on the beach, dive in the ocean. That is like the perfect way to get my day started. Ain't nothing like that. So I feel you 100%. Cole, damn, she stole it again, Jay. We need to have a conversation about this. I know, and I got to thank you for bringing her in and, of course, subscribing and all that. So, you guys, I'm forever indebted to you all for just being a part of this journey here. But, yeah, I know. Hey, listen, you and Fishing Age are going to have to hash that out. I mean, I don't know. You may have to take turns or, hey, like I'll get the first 15 minutes and then she could go back and forth. I don't know. But she's stealing your thunder. All right. I can't help it, babe. Oh, that's cool. I don't mind the cold if I could put more clothes on. One that don't work if they're hot as hell. No, that's true. And look at that, 77 degrees, but it's 47 now. Wow. So it's the same temperature in LA that it is in New York right now. Which is wild, but it's going to get 77. We're here in New York. I think the high is going to be like 58. And into the week, it's supposed to be in the mid-60s, which that I could deal with. I don't care. I joke. It's my wife. I have to give her a hard time. That's my job. No, I hear you. You know what's funny you say that, Cole? Because my wife, she is sarcastic as hell. And she's always just ribbing on me, trying to get under my skin. At times she does. And she says, well, hey, it's like the girl in high school, or I don't want to go as far as grade school, but the girl in high school that is always pestering a particular boy or is always joking on him or always trying to give him a hard time. But the reason why she does that is because she likes him. So that's why she does that, because she cares. Because if she didn't do that, it'd be like, who is that guy? I don't know. It'd be if I was invisible. And I get that. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not like that. I'm not one to be a prankster or whatever. Yeah, you joke around, of course. Can't take yourself that seriously, but there are times where it's almost like, oh, all right, here we go. She's gonna be, she's on a roll when it comes to giving me a ribbing. But hey, but that's where you can't take yourself seriously. You just gotta say, oh, that's just how she is. That's her nature. It's all good. Let's see. Dodger game, 3:00. I know, early. Picture perfect. Yes. As they try to go 3-0. And I know I'll get into the sports in a second. I like talking about the other stuff here, which is pretty interesting. I have a sense of humor. My wife, not so much. Yeah, my wife I tell you, she's the funniest person I've ever known. But yeah, she can be sarcastic and all that. So you gotta take it. I don't take much seriously at all. Family sports, fishing, making money about it. No, that's it. And if you have your passions, the things you love to do, listen, it's in a perfect world, we would all want to be as well-rounded and open-minded. And that's not to say we're not open-minded or we're closed-minded or whatever, but you want to be able to experience a bunch of different things, especially while you're alive or we're alive. But at the same time, we know as individuals what it is that we like, what it is that we don't like, what inspires us, what moves us, our purpose, etc. And it can only be a handful of things. And if that's the case, that's fine. There are a lot of people that don't have that. There are a lot of people that are just, they get up, go to work, and even though they mind their business, then it's fine. But the next thing life passes them by, and then they realize, like, oh, wait a minute, I've let all this time go by, and I haven't even done this, or I haven't traveled, or I've always wanted to do this, or all those different things. Where it's like, hey, yeah, you can't just coast through life. You have to have some adventure. You have to have some, and obviously, I'm managing that now as best as I possibly can, considering making this pivot almost 2 years ago, which is crazy to even think. And, being limited, it's not like, hey, I could go travel a bunch of places and also, try to do my thing, hustle, etc. But you don't want to miss out on what is out there, what life has to offer, etc. You just don't want to be so ingrained in the routine and in the usual. And Lord knows I get wrapped up in that. And not because I want to, it's because, hey, I'm trying to build something here. Thanks to you guys who've been a big part of that over the last X amount of months, more than a year, couple years, etc. But yeah, you want to be able to enjoy. You just don't want to be, all right, here we go, part of the rat race, especially here in New York City, or just getting used to skating by in life. And I understand not every day is going to be an adventure or every day is going to be crazy or whatever, but you gotta add a little spice to it at times. Because if not, you'll blink your eyes and you're like, hey, I'm 60 years old and I haven't done anything with my life. But even then, as long as you realize that, wow, I haven't done anything in my life at 60, you can still go out there and do it. So, if you could go to one place in the world, where would it be? Oh, geez, wow, there's a million places I want to go to. That's a good question. I like that. Thank you. No, but seriously, where I don't want to go? Well, the one place I want to go to, you want to talk about unplug and just totally disconnect. I'd love to go to Bora Bora. Definitely would love to go there. I would also like to go to Bali. I want to check that out. Obviously, there's something spiritual about going to Indonesia and being in Bali and just, yeah, get away from the big city, like I said, the rat race that's here. Let's see, where else would I want to go? Those are the two off the top of my head. I want to go to Costa Rica. That's another place I'm dying to go to. Costa Rica, again, disconnect, kind of be with nature, warm weather. As you can tell, Bora Bora, Bali, as well as Costa Rica, 3 places that obviously are warm climates. Yeah, those are the 3 places I would want to go to right off the bat. But of course, there are many other countries I want to visit. Europe. I mean, I've been blessed to have gone to Greece. I've been to Athens. I've been to Mykonos. I've been to Santorini. I've been to Rome, which is beautiful. Paris, I want to go back. I love Paris. Yeah, I've been to many countries, islands in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, St. Kitts, Barbados. Um, geez, Turks and Caicos. Yeah, Caribbean is, listen, I could live in the Caribbean if I could. And who knows, maybe one day, but the wife is not really into the warm weather. But yeah, those would be some of the places. What about you, Pi? I'm curious. Where would you want to go? Thank you. What place would you like to visit? I will say this, the only place that I want to visit in the U.S., besides Clio, Michigan, hopefully one day. But no, seriously, the one place that I want to go check out that I haven't been to is Chicago. I want to go there. I don't know if I want to go there in the winter, though. And it's funny because the Steelers play in Chicago, I think next month. I should know the date off the top of my head. But yeah, I definitely would love to go there. But thankfully, a lot of the places that are here in the States that I've been to, I've been fortunate. Like, I've been to Boston, Philadelphia. I mean, living in New York, you're less than 2 hours to Philly, less than 4 hours to DC, less than 4 hours to Boston. And I've been to all those cities. Been to Miami. I haven't been to Atlanta, though. I'd like to go check out Atlanta. Been to LA. Now, I haven't been to LA and woo. Now, I was there in 2019. I think I shared with you, Bio. But I was actually, yeah, not too far from where you're at, Moreno Valley. And I hope to get back there soon, maybe as early as next spring for a race. One of my guys out there, I think I may have mentioned that, but yeah, I want to get back to LA. I was in San Francisco 3 years ago. San Francisco was the first time there. I loved it. And I haven't been to Phoenix. I'd like to go there. But Chicago's the one. I've been to New Orleans. New Orleans is beautiful. Been to Dallas. Been to, where else? Houston. Never been to San Antonio. So yeah, those are some of the places I definitely want to go to. All right, here we go. Let me scroll back up. I got to catch up on these comments here. I agree. I used to take everything crazy seriously. That's not the way to live, in my opinion. Nah, you can't, man. It's easy to just... It's easy to get yourself... How can I say? It's easy to let the small things bother you. It's easy to let somebody outside get to you, whether that's, you're driving, somebody cuts you off, or you're in a public place and somebody, whatever, you don't want, to be able to control that it's important, because if not, then any little thing or every person is going to get at you, and the next thing you know, it's like you're just going to be this old cranky man that's, yeah, to me, no, I totally feel you on that, Cole. Bio Amazon River Fishing. Hey, Tatsuya, what's up, my man? ALCS is not over. Blue Jays, mercy ruled. Yeah, no, that was a beatdown. And it's funny, I've been on here, I haven't even talked sports yet. Or really, sports is what's happened in the last few days. No, I totally agree with you on that. I love the visit to the pyramids in Egypt. Yeah, yeah, definitely there. Yeah, that would be mind-blowing. Absolutely. That's a good one, Bio. Yeah, the pyramids. Yeah, that would be breathtaking. Tatsuya, dream vacations to cave hotels in Turkey. Turkey's also another beautiful place from what I hear. I mean, Istanbul, I've seen video of the city. It looks like it's just a great place to go to. I hear the food, everything is great there. Bio, did I see the Coliseum? Yes, I did. And I tell you, when I stepped foot in, and that was when? That was 2 years ago. around this time, now that I think about it, because that's where the wife and I, when we went to Rome, yeah, the Coliseum is mind-blowing, man. I mean, you just think about all that had taken place and how old that building is and how, of course, everything the correlation to sports. When you just think of how the hell did they build that, number one. Number two, that was the beginning of the prototypes for stadiums in this country. And that thing was built thousands and thousands of years ago. And listen, I understand that wasn't a place where they played ball games, but when you walk in there and you just see, but of course, all you can think of is just like the bloodshed that was there, the carnage, just everything that had gone on and taken place, and just you really feel it when you're in there. But you got to immerse yourself. You got to like sit there, or when you stand there and you look around, you think it's like, wow, what took place here? What happened during this time, and just the bodies, and unfortunately the animals, and it's yeah, it's unbelievable when you really think about it. My favorite place I like to go with my family is Paris and Italy. Fishing Angel, and that's what I did 2 years ago. My wife and I, we went on a trip to Paris and to Rome, and we did it within a week. We split 3.5 days in each place, and Paris, let me tell you, man, Paris is beautiful. And to think, you're not only there 3.5 days. I mean, how much can you see besides the usual or the obvious? The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, which we didn't get to go in because the lines for the Louvre was just, I mean, it was ridiculous. And then the Champs-Élysées, or I know I'm mispronouncing that, Champs-Élysées, which is the main street there, where they have the Arc de Triomphe, where when you watch the highlights of the Tour de France, that's the avenue that the bicyclists ride down to the finish line. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful city. It really is. And yeah, I definitely want to go back. And I want to go back to Rome too, but I also want to go to Amalfi Coast. I want to go to Florence, Venice. There's other parts of Italy I want to go visit. In the States, I want to go to San Diego because of Three's Company. Well, it's funny, Tatsui, I've been to San Diego many moons ago. And wait a minute, you're a Three's Company fan? So am I. That's my all-time favorite show. John Ritter, rest in peace. Suzanne Summers, rest in peace. Don Knotts, rest in peace. I mean, please, that show was in the 70s. So, thanks, man. That show was in the 70s. So, yeah, that is. And that opening scene on the beach, is that in San Diego? I thought that'd be LA. Although it doesn't look like Santa Monica. Definitely not. I'm working in Moreno Valley this weekend. Oh, you are? Oh, all right, cool there, Bio. Interesting. Yeah, Moreno Valley's nice, man. Lake Paris, that's where I raced that one time. And that's where my guy, Victor Carrillo, lives. I'm in France. I like to go to France and go carp fishing. Oh, I wonder where in France you go carp fishing. See, and that's the thing too, we talk about how, yeah, just getting out and experiencing different things. And when you go overseas, that's the other thing too about when I went to Greece and when I went to Paris and Rome, it's like, you just feel the history there. You just sense it. It's like, I mean, you just can't even compare it. And what I mean by that is that when you just look at the buildings, the structures, etc., and you just think about, wow, I mean, look what's here. Look what's, yeah, you just have to experience it in order to really get a sense of it. What's that? Fishing Angel, hell yeah, I never caught a carp, yet I want to catch a carp. And then she goes, I caught a carp this year. That was the craziest looking fish I've caught. It was beautiful. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm trying to envision that, and I'm sure it was beautiful. Speaking of purple, Tatsuya, I want to visit the Purple Island in South Korea. South Korea would be a nice place to go. The Purple Island. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Tatsuya, what is part of the Purple Island? I'm curious. I've never even heard of that. Mr. and Mrs. Roper, yes. JAYREELZ, what about Dubai? I would like to go to Dubai, but the thing is that Dubai almost feels as if, like, you got to go. I don't know. I'm not. This may sound a little prototypical. I'm gonna have the sun behind me because I'm gonna cut up this street and come back around. Let me see. Hang on. All right. Yeah, I've thought about going to Dubai once upon a time, but Dubai is just like, to me, it's like Miami on steroids because you're gonna be surrounded by high-rise buildings and luxury cars and people with money up the wazoo that you're gonna feel like a pet. And even though I can get in where I fit in, I know, sorry guys with the sun. And even though I get in where I fit in, but yeah, but no, listen, if I had an opportunity to go, I would definitely like to see for myself. Now, of course, you can't drink there. So yeah, if you're getting ready to, oh yeah, can I get a Heineken or can I get a Negroni? They're gonna say, sorry, all we have is water and Pepsi or Coca-Cola, whatever soft drink that they consume out there. But I would definitely, listen, I wouldn't be opposed to going. I would definitely like to see that part of the world. And you want to talk about hot. Man, those temperatures there, they're in the upper 90s to the hundreds. And obviously it's all, it's man-made. It's all pretty much desert. So, yeah, I tell you, it is a destination that, listen, I wouldn't thumb my nose at, but I would definitely like to check it out. France is the biggest carp in the world. Oh, does it really? I did not know that. I have a pic of the carp. I'll send it to you. All right, cool. No, that's cool. I appreciate that. The Purple Island is unique. The locals are forced to paint everything purple. Purple House is purple. Oh, you know who would love that place? If he was still around, that'd be Prince. I'm a big Prince fan. Oh, look at this house decorated for Halloween. That's a big lot, man. I mean, what's this? Yeah, it's a street. They got solar panels up on top. Yeah, this is a pretty. I don't know if you can see that back there. Let's see. Yeah, that home, decorations, ready for Halloween. There's another house down there. All right, let's switch it up here this way. The Purple Island, South Korea. Yeah, and there's so many other places in the world. I mean, geez, it's countless. And I'm glad you asked that, Bio, because again, when you ask people and you're curious about what other people want to do or where they want to go, and yeah, I always find that fascinating. And especially those, whether they've traveled a lot or haven't traveled at all, because again, you can have somebody who's literally traveled the world, but I bet you there's one place that they haven't been to. It just goes to show how big this planet is. And yeah, Nelson, that was a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. And it's good to hear your responses too of where you'd want to go. But let's see. Yeah, as far as the podcast today, let's get into that a little bit. Obviously, the Jays get back in the series, but now here's the bigger question. Will the Jays even the series? Or if not, will they take the series back to Toronto? I think they'll take it back to Toronto. I think they may be down 3-2. And if they're down 3-2, give you my early prediction, I think it'll go 7 games. Although I can see Seattle winning at game 6, though. But, yeah, that series is far from over. Dodgers, as we talked about yesterday, listen, are the Brewers going to win today? I don't think so. I see a Dodgers sweep before I see that series going back to Milwaukee. Although maybe the Brewers may get 1 game, and I wouldn't be surprised, even if the Dodgers are up 3-0, somehow, some way, they'd find a way to win game 4. But they're not coming out of LA alive. There's no way. I'd be shocked if there's a game 6 in Milwaukee. And I forget about shocked. I'd be floored if there's a game 6 in Milwaukee and the Brewers take the next 3. But even if that were to be the case, although it's the smallest chance in hell, even if that were to be the case, I could see the Dodgers winning the 2 games in Milwaukee to win the series. But that's not going to happen. So, yeah, I'll touch on the baseball. NFL, a couple of things. I know yesterday I mentioned about the wide open NFL, which it is right now, because with Buffalo losing 2 in a row and the Eagles losing 2 in a row and everybody thinking that they were on a collision course to be in the Super Bowl, how I look at it is that now you couldn't even predict who's going to be in the Super Bowl. And I understand, listen, we're in the middle of October. So what I'm saying now may not make any sense. Forget about a month from now, maybe even 2 weeks from now. But one of the things I want to bring up, and I'll expound on, is the Steelers actually have a very good shot to have a big year because of what has happened. And sometimes you need those breaks as a team in order to have a long postseason run or even get to a Super Bowl, because with the way things are broken in the AFC, I talked about it on the NFL preview, how I thought, as loaded as the AFC was, however you want to break it down, that the Steelers, they probably would have made it into the playoffs, but now they actually have a shot to be a team that could be in the top, at least top 3 or 4 seeds. Well, top 3 for sure, because, well, who knows? Maybe Indianapolis comes back down to earth. But it's a thing where they could actually have a big-time year. As we know, Baltimore's 1-5, and unless Lamar comes back, and who knows, maybe if they make a run just to get to the 7th seed, but they could be dangerous, although the defense is trash. Steelers play the Bengals tonight to kick off Week 7, and they could actually have a 3.5-game lead in the division with a win tonight. So that's why things are breaking right. Now, the Chiefs, they're like the boogeyman. They're not going to go away anytime soon. But, I mean, seriously, do you believe in Indianapolis? Do you believe in the Chargers? Do you believe in, watching the cars here, do you believe in the Broncos? I mean, those are teams that, listen, they played well. You got to give it up. But it's kind of like the debate we talked about yesterday with Brent. Could those teams surprise and go far? They probably could, but do you expect them to? And that's not to say the Steelers, because of who they are, their name, their history, etc., that, automatically they're going to be in an AFC Championship game. But, I mean, who knows? Shane Steichen, are you going to believe him in a big spot? I don't think so. Are you going to believe in the Jacksonville Jaguars? I don't think so. So, yeah, that's why I think it's wide open, and I'll touch on that later on. College football, we're almost at the halfway point. So I'll go through the landscape to see where we're at, and that could change, as you all know, from week to week. So I'll touch on that. NHL, the Rangers, here locally, they're going for a record that hasn't been matched in almost 100 years or surpassed. So I'll touch on that. NBA starts on Tuesday. I'm not going to really talk much. I know you talked about Russell Westbrook yesterday and a couple other things, but yeah, so those are the things that I will expound on. And hey, that's pretty much going to be your podcast today. And yeah, when I get back to the apartment, I got to set up. It probably won't be up until probably like 2, maybe 3 the latest. Because, yeah, I just got to make sure that, once I got everything set up and edited, etc. So you'll have the podcast coming your way. And, that is pretty much it with the podcast pregame, although we've been talking about other things, which I like. Let's see. With Old Man Rogers, Steelers are on borrowed time. Yeah, they absolutely are. And listen, they're an older team. They are a now team. And I'm not going to say, I mean, you can honestly say that this could be it for them. I mean, because Rodgers doesn't come back next year. Steelers got to get a quarterback. Their defense, let's face it, TJ Watt is 30, Cameron Hayward's 35, Jalen Ramsey's 30. I mean, these are guys that are just there to try to go as far as they possibly can in the postseason. And even though they're young on offense, their offensive line is young. I mean, DK Metcalf's been around, but, it's not as if he's 30, 32 years old. So, yeah, they are now a team. And as long as they are healthy and they keep Rodgers upright, they have a puncher's chance. That's not to say they're going to go to a Super Bowl or win it, but stranger things have happened. I'm excited for the Pistons. Yeah, Pistons, I think, will have a really good year, and especially in a conference that, as we know, it's not really that strong, especially with the injury to Jason Tatum in Boston, as well as Tyrese Halliburton in Indiana. Philly, you can never trust with Embiid. I think the one team, though, and even though I can't trust Doc Rivers, despite him winning a title with the Celtics many years ago, but I wonder if Giannis is going to be on a mission this year. But I don't know. The Bucks, Bucks are hard. I love Giannis, though. I mean, Giannis, that guy is exactly what his name is. He is a freak. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the East is wide open. And the Knicks, I know everybody. To me, I almost feel that it is aligned for the Knicks to get to a final. But I don't know if I could trust talking about going with the gut, like we talked about yesterday with Brent's philosophy or his theory. Yeah, I don't think so. K put a 40 in a preseason game. K just, oh, wow. Yeah, no, that's good, man. Last year, that was some much-needed experience by them. To go through the rigors, to play against a Knicks team that obviously has been around the block. And, yeah, they could have won that series. They really could have. And I think they're going to have a big year. As a matter of fact, I don't know what their over-under is. If I had to take a guess, it's got to be 47.5. I may actually pick them as an over this year. And that's the one thing with my over-unders, the NBA I do better than any other sport for whatever reason. Last year, 5-1. Baseball, I was 4-2 this year, which is all right. Yeah, it's okay. It's better than 3-3. But the over-unders, I usually pick the sixes. I want to go at least 5-1. My NFL, listen, I picked the Ravens at 11.5, and their next loss, that means that they're not going to run the table. So that one's in the trash. But, and I just have fun with those over-under numbers. You think Juan Soto made a mistake by signing with the Mets? No, not at all. I don't think so. Listen, now, the length of the contract is ludicrous. 15 years, and I get it. He just, I think he'll be 27 on the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I can't say that was a mistake. But, I mean, listen, that contract of 41. Now, remember, he has an opt-out after the 5th year. So he has 4 more years before he can opt out. So that you have to remember. But the thing is that unless he has a few MVPs and he has monster years similar to what he had this year, then at that point he may actually opt out. But if he doesn't, and then you got to stick with him for another 10 more years, I mean, that contract's going to be ugly. He's going to be your DH when it's all said and done. Because we all know he's not a great right fielder. Obviously, we know he can hit, and that is a strength, and has a great eye. So, yeah, I would think if he doesn't opt out and goes elsewhere, if he's going to stay in a Met uniform, he's going to be a DH probably from when he's like 33, 34 years old until he's 41. I mean, that's all there is to it. I feel like Tarik is getting traded. Yeah, now's the time to trade him, though. I got news for you, Cole. If that's the case, if I'm the Tigers, I would have to think long and hard to do that because he's not going to sign there. Either that, offer him the contract once the season is over. Say, hey, I know Boris is your agent, but we're going to offer you, as we talked about before, 6 years, $180 million. That's $30 million a year. I mean, come on. And if he doesn't take it, then I would start looking for trades. And then obviously the team that he's going to get traded to, they would have to, of course, sign him long term. Now, I don't know what their farm system is like, but you know, it's the one team I think should take him be the Cubs. Because the Cubs have Imanaga and Matthew Boyd, a guy you know well. They're cold, but yeah, the Cubs need a stud. And I don't understand to have Justin Steele, who he had Tommy John, but and listen, I don't know anything. I just say the Cubs only because they don't have that guy, that one bona fide starter. And the Mets have assets to trade for him, but yeah, I don't know. Cohen is gonna, and of course Boris being Juan Soto's agent, obviously he's not gonna be averse to dealing with him. But at the same time, I don't know. The Mets gonna go there and offer him 8 years for however many. Now think about it. Max Fried signed 8 for what? 212? No, 218. Yeah, so it's going to be like 8 for 225 or some ridiculous number. And as dominant as he is and as great as he is, the one thing that bothers me is he going to be a guy that, well, after 6 innings, I'm done. I gave it all I got. No. You're getting paid that type of money. You're going 110, 115, 120 pitches. Sorry. And that's not going to fly in New York. So, and that shouldn't fly, especially, it wouldn't fly in Detroit either because the diehard fans know. But yeah, no. He pulls himself out of a game and goes, I gave it everything I got, even if it was 1 run, 2 hits, no walks, and 12 strikeouts. Are they still talking about salary cap in baseball? Well, I haven't heard much about that recently, but I will say this. As I've shared many times, the CBA expires next December. And you know that that's going to be the talk. And the players don't want that. But as we know, looking into this guy's, he's got tomatoes growing there. But here's the thing. Baseball will do well with a salary cap. You want to get the sport back? They need that. And I understand that people can say, look what happened 2 years ago, Arizona, Texas. Well, yeah, that's once every X amount of years. Because we could go through all of the World Series matchups just over the last decade. And a lot of them are Boston, LA, New York, Philadelphia, Houston, Atlanta. Yeah. You're not seeing Pirates. You're not seeing Marlins. You're not seeing, well, the Royals did make it 10 years ago, but ever since they won that World Series, and granted they went to the playoffs last year, but yeah. But if they had a salary cap, despite the fact that the players don't want it, the sport will grow. Well, I will always say grow. Grow's not the right word. The sport will be much better for it. Just think about this with the NFL right now. The NFL is going to be intriguing the rest of the year, at least so we think, considering that you have Indianapolis at 5-1, you have Tampa 5-1, Jacksonville is 4-2. You have teams that nobody thought would be, maybe Tampa because that division is weak, did pretty well between Atlanta and even New Orleans, not New Orleans, and Carolina for that matter. But the bottom line is this. The NFL right now, you couldn't pick who's in the Super Bowl. Where in baseball, every year you could say, it's going to be Dodgers, it's going to be Phillies, it's going to be Red Sox, it's going to be Yankees, it's going to be, you know who the teams are. And that's not a good thing, that's a bad thing. So for those who want to come out and say, like, for instance, I've heard a lot over the last couple of days on Sports Talk Radio, are the Dodgers good or bad for baseball? Listen, baseball is the one that's set this up. So you can't blame the Dodgers for doing what they're doing. And even though once upon a time I may have thought like, evil empire Yankees, and now the Mets are the evil empire, and now the Dodgers. But you know what? They're not breaking any rules. They're not doing anything that is against the grain. Obviously, they have tremendous amount of resources and they play in a huge market. Understood. So what they could do, obviously the likes of the Minnesota Twins and the Tampa Bay Rays and the Miami Marlins, they're not going to do that. They could do it, but they won't. But yeah, everybody wants to hate on LA because, oh, you know, look at it, they're getting all the best players, blah, blah. Well, those teams can do the same thing too, but obviously they do not. And therefore, this is where you need a salary cap. This is where you need to have a ceiling and a floor so everybody has a fair competitive advantage, because this isn't a situation where this is sports. Although it's business, I get it. But right now, the Dodgers are looking like Amazon, and the likes of the Marlins and the Rays are looking like the mom and pop hardware store in the corner. And baseball shouldn't be like that. Because in the NFL, the small markets have just as much of a shot to get to the playoffs and go far than the big teams in the sport. So, and I understand you have to have the quarterback. That's enormous. Understood. But, I mean, look, Daniel Jones and what he's doing. Now, granted, the Colts haven't really beaten anybody. I get it. But if you're in Indianapolis right now, you're feeling good about your team. It's like, wow, we're 5-1. Anything can happen. Season could change. Just like it could for baseball, but we all know. In those aforementioned markets in baseball, they're out of the playoffs by 4th of July. And therefore, they're looking forward to the NFL season. So the only way baseball gets better is if they get a salary cap. And I've gone on record saying this, and I'll say it one more time. If by next December 1st, 2026, they do not come to an agreement, and if baseball's going to be out in the wilderness where they're going to lose 2027 and maybe longer than that, although I don't think it'd be longer than that, but could they lose a year if the salary cap is what the owners want and the commissioner, Rob Manfred, then I'm willing. I'll sit out because I'll come back. If there's no baseball, just to get it right, sign me up. I'm not one of those that's going to be like, oh, well, they're going to want a salary cap. Well, I'm not watching baseball ever again. Nope. Get it right. Fix it. I don't care how long it takes. Because, yeah, the owners will hurt, but the players will hurt even more. And it's not even just the top players. It's the rank and file. It's the long reliever. It's the fifth starter. It's the guy coming off the bench. And even though there are a ton of guys making 20, 30, $40 million a year, however high it is in Major League Baseball, but there are a lot of players that are making minimum or in the $2 to $5 million average variety. And I understand you're not going to cry for players that are making anywhere between 2 to 5 million, but you know what? Yeah, they're going to be crying if they're not making any money or if they're not earning a paycheck, because the guys that are making 30, 20, 30, 40 million, yeah, they're good. But we can go through all the teams, all the players. That's not Juan Soto or Francisco Lindor or Pete Alonso. There's a million other Met players I could go to, the Francisco Alvarez's and the rookie pitchers and players like that, where you can easily come out and say, those guys are going to be, they want to get back to work. They don't want to be out here on strike or locked out or anything like that. It's crazy. I know I just rambled about that. Jay, you heard of Cincy red hitter Shogo Akiyama? He was the best Japanese hitter. And, well, I know about Murakami. I didn't hear about the other guy, Akiyama. Yeah, Murakami I heard of. And it's funny because I was actually trying to think of him the other day, but it was Murakami. And what's going on? You froze and went slow motion? I did? Oh, I didn't even know that. Well, I don't know. Maybe I was going through a dead zone or a dead spot. It's quite possible. Yeah, as far as the Shogo Akiyama, I've never heard of him. Murakami, yes. The Japanese Aaron Judge, well, I've never seen him. Obviously, I've never seen him play. I haven't even gone to the highlights. I've heard about him. So, yeah, you know what happened then? Dodgers win the World Series, and I don't know what position he plays, but he's probably going to want to sign with the Dodgers. And could you imagine? But at the same time, I wouldn't hate or I wouldn't be like, oh, look at this. Listen, when you have 3 Japanese guys on the team and they're all pitchers, so now you bring in a position player. I mean, that's why the Dodgers are loaded. Akiyama signed 2022 DFA 2 years later. Wait, he signed 2022 from Cincinnati? Let me think. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't heard of him. Shogi Akiyama. I gotta look him up. For whatever reason, I don't recall him. So I don't know why that player wasn't on my radar. Interesting. So yeah, so that's what I got, people. That's what's happening. Yeah, it's good to. I love the. Listen, I love to do all the live streams that we have, but this one, it's interesting when we talk about travel and not taking ourselves too seriously and things of that nature. I enjoy that. I enjoy having these discussions a little bit more personable, or personal and personable. As yeah, and listen, we know why we're here, chopping up about sports, etc., which is great. But obviously, there's more to life than the toy department of sports. Once upon a time, that wasn't the case. To me, I know it's going to sound bad, but in my teens and 20s, I could take a newspaper and it could say the bomb on New York City tomorrow. Yeah, I just saw it. If it lagged there, I just saw it said reconnecting. So I don't know. I must have been going through a dead spot there earlier. But as I was saying, I said the front page of the news, the newspaper, that could come out and say a bomb is going to be dropped in New York City tomorrow. Run for cover. But I'd be more concerned about what's on the back page instead. So if so-and-so got traded, I'd be like, that's more important than somebody dropping a bomb. But again, that's me being young and stupid. But that's how much I love sports. I mean, there isn't, I feel like there isn't a second that goes by that I'm not getting myself up to speed on what's happening. And even though I know Tatsuya came out with that Shogo Akiyama, which for whatever reason, I don't, that went way over my head, but now I got to do some research on that because, yeah, that one doesn't ring a bell. Ace Ventura Pet Detective, did you get that gum? That's none of your damn business, damn. From the movie. God, I haven't seen that movie in ages, too. And it came out, what, 94? Now it's getting breezy out here. I don't know if you can hear the wind in the microphone. And now I'm going to have to break out my lavalier mic, especially on days like this if I'm outside. Because the last thing I want you guys and gals to hear is wind blowing into the mic where you can't really hear me. Oh, shoot, it's almost 10:30? All right, yeah, I'll land this plane shortly. Just so I can get back. I'm still about a half mile from my apartment. Maybe more than that. But, yeah, Ace Ventura, geez, it's been eons since I've seen that. Well, yeah, guys, I love these live streams. I love these. I almost enjoy these more, a little bit more, than the Wednesday ones. Because this one we kind of talk about different things. And not to say we couldn't do that on the Wednesday live stream, but obviously Wednesday's more sports related, sports themed. And I got to thank you guys and gals, the Bios, Tatsuya, of course, Cole, Fishing Angel. Didn't see Val B today. Didn't see James D yesterday or today. Brent's got to be out and about somewhere. Our little community here, which I truly appreciate and enjoy, as you know. But yeah, that's what I got cooking, people. So, as you know, podcast coming later. Podcast Pregame on Monday. We'll recap everything that happened over the weekend. And yeah, that's what I got. So before I sign off, I don't know if you have any. Bunch of little kids. Yeah. So before I sign off, I don't know if there's anything else. Anything else happening? Anything else going on? Anything else you want to discuss before I head back and get this podcast started? Yes, sir. Cole, you the man. You have a great day as well. Fishing Angel, have a great day. Bio, Tatsuya, whomever else hopped on board. I know I should know all this by all the comments. Yeah, I didn't get anybody else from outside of our usual suspects here as I'm scrolling up. Yeah, I think I got everybody covered here. Have a great sports day, everyone. Yes, go Dodgers, Bio. 6 more. We'll be on top of that. What was that, 6:08 tonight? For us, 3:08 by you. Yeah, have a great day, guys. And yeah, just keep your eye out, not only just for the podcast, but also for those sports history segments, which will, like I said, tomorrow, Sunday. And then I got a couple more others I got to edit, and I got to film a couple others too. But yeah, so that's coming down the pike too on the channel. Definitely don't miss that. Thank you, Fishing Angel. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all. You know that. And I thank you guys profusely. I'm sure you're sick and tired of me thanking you, but hey, I can't help it. So I'm grateful. Grateful and blessed to have you guys hop on board. So with that being said, let me sign off. As always, enjoy your Thursday. Enjoy your weekend. Peace, love, and God bless you all. And until next time, on the flip, baby.